case from cardiac complex cath lab, Gulab Devi Hospital. We have just started a few minutes ago. I will share with you the case presentation. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is our conference, our live case, and our whole work is dedicated to Rasul Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the greatest ever spiritual physician. So today our case is 55-year-old male. He presented with us to us with class 4 angina for lasting for the 5 days about a couple of weeks ago. He has no established coronary artery disease previously, but he has a risk factor like his newly diagnosed diabetes, but hypertension, but well controlled. He's ex-smoker and has a strong family history of coronary artery disease. Next slide, please. He was on aspirin, clopidogrel, statin, metoprolol, olmesartan nitrate. But despite of all these medication, he has experienced the angina most frequently. Echo was normal with wall motion abnormalities, but ejection fraction was normal at the time of presentation. So we did his angiogram. Please show the slides. His lab was normal despite of HPC was 7.5. On angiogram, this angiogram was done through right radial approach about a couple of weeks ago. You can see here this alveocaudal view in which, please run the videos. In this left main is structurally normal, but you can see there is ostium of LAD has aneurysmal dilatation followed by a tight lesion. And similarly, the ostium of circumflex has a very critical stenosis followed by ectatic segment. In the epicardial, you can shade well that there is severe diffuse ectasia with the critical lesion of ostium of the circumflex and proximal LAD. But the ostium of left LAD is not disease free. There is a small aneurysm. Next slide, please. In this epicranial and areocranial views, there is some disease at the mid to distal LAD, but up to us it was not quite significant angiographically. And but the lesion at the LAD also has a moderate to severe calcification angiographically. But right coronary artery was didn't have any critical lesion. There was a mild diffuse disease of right coronary artery. So our main plan is to intervene with the left main LAD and circumflex, that is 011. And our today's plan is IVUS guided PCI. We have a plan to do IVUS of the both vessels to identify the calcification and the disease area. And definitely we are going for the two-stent strategy from left main stem. And regarding the decision of the atherectomy, that depends upon our IVUS findings. And at the end, we will do the FFR of mid LAD. If it is significant, then we put a stent there, otherwise we leave it. I would like to hear the opinion from the panel. I would like to hear the opinion from the panel.
Can you hear me, Dr. Imran?
Yes,
this is 60-year-old male. I don't know what his condition is like, but have you not discussed surgery for him before going in for a complex coronary intervention? Hello?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you repeat your question?
Did you discuss surgery with him? Bypass.
Dr. Imran, did you discuss surgery with him?
The sentence was about 26, and we discussed initially our heart team discussion was regarding the CABG with the patient, but patient was not convinced regarding the CABG. So then we decided to go for the intervention in this patient.
Imran, Dr. Saqib from your conference hall. Is your two-stent strategy includes stenting across left main, or do you think you'll be able to handle ostial circ without involving left main?
No, my plan is to put a stent from the left main, as there is aneurysm at the ostium of the LAD. So I have to do either mini crush or DK crush in this patient.
Okay. And the same, okay, we'll discuss things later on. Okay.
I guess we'll discuss as we move on. If you can play the image again, the issue which I was seeing was the ectatic area and getting the opposition right. If we choose to go for the left main stenting, getting the stent opposed properly in that location, and the long-term sequelae because of that. And if you look at the right view, is it filling anything with collateral circulation? I just had a quick look at the right.
Kindly show the right cardiac again.
Just had a glimpse of that.
We just started the case, and we already did the IVUS of the both vessels. So I will show today's images and then the IVUS. Show the first. Show the first image. Today's first image. Kindly show the today's first image. So kindly show today's first image. You can see the today's first image, reference image.
Yes, we can, but it's in the sidebar. If they can stop screen sharing, then we will be able to see it in the middle.
Kindly put this today's image on the main screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yeah. This is today's image. We have a 7 French left radial SS. The right radial is quite down after first angiogram, so we took a left radial. So here today's left radial 7 French guide to the left radial approach.
Is this a sheathless guide?
No, it's with the 7 French sheath. Patient is quite healthy, has a good radial and arm, so we put a 7 French in the left radial.
So which sheets are you using for this patient? Which 7
The
French?
7 French sheath,
Terumo?
yes.
Terumo?
No, it's not from Tromo, with the company for this.
It's just any ordinary 7 French.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the today's images, and the disease is quite same as we have seen previously. So the next image. Here you can appreciate that definitely there is quite ectasia in the circumflex and LAD, but we have a plan to deploy the stent in the ectatic segment, and we try to match it with hyperinflation with IVUS guidance. And show the next image. And this is today's LAD's view. The mid to distal LAD is a borderline lesion, so we'll plan to go for FFR of this LAD lesion after the.
Can't see the angio images. They were stored.
Sorry.
Can't see the angio images.
Oh, we can see them very well.
Yeah.
Dr. Numan, can you see now today's images?
It's coming on the smaller computer now, but on the main screen, there are no angio images available.
So if you agree, can I show you the IVUS today's IVUS images from circumflex and LAD?
Please,
Yes,
please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Kindly show the IVUS on the main screen. Initially, it was IVUS from the circumflex. Please show the IVUS on the main screen. Kindly start it from the beginning. Start it from the beginning. This is IVUS from the circumflex to left main. And it's a distal segment. You can see there is mild atheroma, otherwise no obvious calcification. This is the tightest part of the lesion. and followed by mild superficial calcium, and ostium is almost mild with mild calcification, and left main is disease free. And this is LED to left main. I was, and this is about for 3.54 mm vessel. Here there's some two quadrant calcification, and here this is the tightest lesion, but there is also superficial calcium, but here is the deep calcium. You can see. Client, stop this. And go back, more, more. It's about 180-degree calcification at about 6 to 9 o'clock. Go backward.
Yeah, the image is a bit blurred, but we can still appreciate the huge amount of calcium there.
There's just a very small portion of napkin ring calcium where there is 30 to 60-degree arc of calcium here, just at this point. Yes. Go slightly backward. Kindly focus this, Iris.
There is so much white shadowing that we think there is a lot of calcium.
Please kindly focus this, Iris findings.
Yes, and the rest of it looks like atheroma, so it's a bit difficult to see
Yes.
that. We could
Yeah.
make out that there was one area with a napkin ring calcification.
Kindly stop at this. Increase plate.
Now, what section are we in?
So this is the tightest part of the LED where
Right.
the LED is
Yes.
about 90%. Here you can see there is sphere calcification, and
Yeah.
then at this point, stop it. Here. So
Yeah.
what is the strategy now? Should I go for the rotablation in this patient, or we just balloon it and then proceed? Although there is a very small area, just about 2 to 3 mm with napkin in calcium. What's the opinion from the panel?
I think the risk of embolization will increase with the ectasia and the LED, and I mean rotablation itself is a high risk procedure for embolization. So I mean, if you really want to cut the calcium, maybe a cutting balloon might be a more sort of safer option.
Okay, any other opinion?
However, if you do not have a good result and you are unable to open up at this point, then going in for a rota after having balloon dilated might be a bit difficult for you.
I second Professor Amber. I think that if you're doing left main here and you want to have an excellent result and minimize your sort of chances of early stent thrombosis, then the excellent apposition is mandatory. And this is an ideal case for atherectomy or maybe shockwave, which is obviously very expensive, not available here. So this lesion should not be in left main, and bifurcation should not be stented without debulking the lesion in a better manner.
So my plan here is to do a rotablation of this LED lesion with the 1.5 mm burr, and for which I'm just going to exchange my regular wire with rota wire.
Imran, did you also look at the circumflex?
Yes, kindly show the
guess-
circumflex image. Previous circumflex image. Kindly show the, yes, this is the image from circumflex. Here is the most tightest part of the circumflex. Otherwise, there is no significant calcium in the just a chunk of superficial calcium.
Mm.
And left main is almost disease-free in these images.
Mm.
Okay.
2 balloon, 2-5 balloon, 2-5 balloon. So I'm going to trap my regular wire while exchange this rotawire through the fine cross.
So on IVIS, you didn't have more than 270-degree arc of calcium. You could go either way in this case, but yes, once you balloon the lesion, then it's hard to go back and debulk and do rota. So going ahead directly with that is a reasonable strategy. But there's always an issue when you're going in with the left main proximal LD rota, whether to use hemodynamic support or not. ZF is normal, so you should be able to tolerate, but there's a lot of people argue about if you're doing rota in the left main location, to have hemodynamic support as well. So at least have it on standby, have additional excess available, and have balloon pump ready to go in case you need it, even if you haven't inserted it.
So I'm just using the balloon to trap my regular workhorse wire for the exchange for the rota wire. I'm not going to balloon the lesion at this point. And secondly, if we do the balloon at the site of the calcified lesion and it doesn't dilate, it didn't dilate the lesion, and we have to do rota, then there is no difficulty to put a rota after the balloon dilatation. Many times in undilatable lesions, we use rotablation after the balloon dilatation.
I guess depends on the amount of dissection you have after ballooning. Yeah, if there's no significant, then you could, but yeah.
If unless you have a very good technique to do rotablation, I think there is no chance of excision or dissection unless you have dissected the vessel and put a burr into the dissected segment. So I'm going to trap my wire and then exchange this workhorse wire with the rota wire up to the fine cross.
So can they show your active screen rather than than the replay?
Please show the live monitor. Down. So I put this fine cross the lesion, and kindly show the live monitor. I'm going to change my rota wire to this fine cross.
We'd like to see you exchange it, but we can't.
Kindly show the live monitor on. Can you give me the rota wire?
So you trapped the wire for all the listeners and participants. You trapped your wire with a 2.5 balloon and inflated it to what pressure?
I put the trio balloon at the 7 French guide. I trap the wire with trio balloon at 6-8 ATM in the guide, and then just take the fine cross inside and deflate the balloon and cross the lesion with the fine cross. And rota wire. Please show the live monitor.
We are not getting the images over here in the hall.
I think they don't understand the meaning of the word live monitor, because that's what the cameraman will always do, is the live monitor. So Imran, if you can, I know you're busy, but if you can just tell us what you are doing, or someone, because we can't really follow. I think by the sound of it, he's rotablating.
So there is just connection error.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the.
No problem.
You should check it in the case and you can share the things later on as the connection gets established. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will just change my this rota wire through this fine cross and remove the fine cross. I'm preparing the rotablation. My plan is to start with 1.5 mm burr. 1.5 is my workhorse burr in many rotablations. So we are ready with this rota burr 1.5 mm. I'm sorry for the delay. So up till now, what we did, any opinion from the panel, how to proceed, and what is your preferred choice for bifurcation stenting?
I mean, before
There was a
that,
reasonable size
just-
diagonal as well. Are you planning to do bifurcation approach there as well with the LED? If I remember correctly, there was a reasonable size
Yes, there
and
is
the OM there as well.
yes, there are two big branches like diagonal and OM. But my plan is not to intervene them unless there is some flow deterioration in both of these vessels. I'm not going to put wires or not going to put stent or anything in those vessels.
Okay, so you'll go with the provisional approach there. And in terms of left main, what is your strategy going to be?
For the left main, my plan is to do mini crush. That's why I put a 7 French guide. Would use put both stents simultaneously and crush one stent with the other stent.
I mean, a hypothetical question just for discussion because you can't see the image actually. The thing is that if you have a, say, a 270-degree arc of calcium or less than that, and if you can dilate it well with a conventional balloon and then put in a drug-eluting stent, do you necessarily have to do an atherectomy in the LED in this patient or even otherwise? Obviously with the attendant risks. Of course, the question of undilatable lesions is there. If you can't dilate it, then yes, definitely you should go for atherectomy. But in cases where you can get a good result with a balloon and you simple balloon dilatation, and then have stenting with then and checked by IVUS, then do you really need to do atherectomy?
Yes, Professor Nadeem, you are right. If we achieve a good expansion with just with the NC balloon in this case, then we can proceed without the rotablation. As you are very right, that's a very small, like 2 or 3 mm calcific arc, and not very deep calcium. We can avoid the rotablation in this patient.
Yeah, I think in this case, it could have gone both ways. The degree of calcification was not that much that you needed to necessarily do a rota with balloon dilatation. You might have gotten away with that as well.
I mean, to be honest with you, when we talk of atherectomy, The problem with atherectomy before we had the drug-eluting stents was the high degree of restenosis. But after the advent of drug-eluting stents in almost every lesion, the advantage of doing an atherectomy with its attendant complications in such a patient would be very marginal. I mean, the main advantage is in preventing restenosis is the use of drug-eluting stents and their optimization. It is not, mandatory to do an atherectomy in a patient where the calcium is not, circumferential or all around. So that's my own opinion, but I mean, the other panelists can join.
Yes, I think
Yes,
it's very
you can do
valid.
it in either way. So
I think very valid opinion, and I think most of our patients do get done because we are not routinely using IVUS to actually check how much calcium. But I believe that we are now looking at a lot more complex patients than we used to when we started off, and there's a lot of calcium that we are encountering, which I remember from my early days that we never looked at that much calcium, or maybe we were not aware. So even just angiography machines are able to pick that much calcium up. Of course, IVUS is your best modality to look at what is happening inside, because there's a lot of, I mean, we have in the last year have had quite a few undilatable lesions, which we had to defer to do a rota later on. So sometimes I feel that when you think rota, then you might as well pick the rota up initially, rather than to be stuck in a situation where you will not
so
be
we are
able.
ready with the rota.
Yeah,
We
sure.
want to have a speed of 160 RPM.
So is this your preferred speed for 1.5?
Yes, for rotablation, most of the cases I start with 160 RPM, and if unable to cross the lesion, then usually go for the increase the speed. Hold the wire. Okay. 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 Hold the wire, please. Good.
On the main screen, the image is flipped.
Hold the wire. Going the side branch. Just the wire just came out of the branch. So I have to start the case again to cross the wire. Give me this cyan blue.
So would you do you use parallel wire technique or always with the fine cross?
No, in the most of the time I use it parallel wire without the fine cross. So in this case, unfortunately, we just lose the wire. The wire came out, and now I have to start the work again.
Did you have any run of the rota in the lesion or no, not yet?
Sorry?
Did you have any run of the lesion?
No, no,
with
no,
Rota? Not yet.
not yet. I just preparing, and when I have to start, the wire just came out.
Hmm.
I think we should
Just
let Imran concentrate on his work so that he can get the atherectomy done safely. Um, There's
I
quite
mean,
a hairpin turn for the circumflex, which might cause some deployment problems at the time of, but we'll see when we get there.
So at this point, as we came out, we can opt the other strategy as mentioned by Professor Nadeem, that we can balloon it and see if they're unable to dilate the lesion, then we can proceed with the rotablation again. This another option is available to us.
I would probably, prefer to have, see how the lesion behaves with the balloon, and maybe do a slightly higher pressure dilatation, and just see if the lesion pops. Then you don't really need to do a rota in this ectatic vessel. I mean,
Yes, as we have a delay now with we have to start the work again, so we can proceed with this strategy. So I have now planning to put a second wire in the circ, and then plan to go with balloon dilatation of the lesion of LAD. And I have a Wolverine with me. If I can use that also. Wolverine I want to use for the circumflex. Give some die. Okay. Give me 3O 15 NC. Go into Ariocranial. Ariocranial. Give some die. Okay, inflate. 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Move directly to balloon dilatation. Huh?
Yes, Dr.
And
Naveen was,
trust me, this will also yield the lesion very nicely without
And,
rota.
yes,
and there we are.
the balloon is quite well expanded. So it's just about a 1 mm or 2 mm arc of calcium. It doesn't require this rotablation. So my plan now is not to go for rotablation in this LAD. And for LCX, I will use the same balloon, 3O, and then use the Wolverine cutting balloon to flare the ostium of the circ. 3O.
To the IT people, our images still flipped in the main hall. So if they can put the, I mean, on the computer screen, apparently it's coming okay, but on the main hall, the image is still flipped.
Actually, on the computer screen, we can see multiple views, so that's really good. We can see the live screen as well as the playbacks.
So this is our. Now I'm going to balloon the circ, balloon the ostium of the circ with 3O NC, and let's see how it behaves.
So is this
Please
the same
come.
balloon which you have just used?
Yes, yes, the same balloon as I used in, but it's unable. Yes, no. Please give a better view. Epicaudal, 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 more caudal. Okay, okay. Balloon it. Okay, start. The same balloon which I used in the LAD. 6, 8, 10,
It went
12.
with a little bit of resistance, but it's a large, high-profile balloon, and
Yeah, I think
yeah, and
that
used. Yeah,
In the circ,
there's a
we are able to
hairpin.
achieve a good, I think it's a good balloon expansion. It's up to 12 ATM, this NC3 or 15 NC. So what do you think, is there any need of cutting balloon at the ostium of the circ?
I doubt it, because you have got a good expansion with the 3ONC, and I think that it's
But
looks
as
good.
we all know that the ostium of circ are very notorious for restenosis, and the osteal lesion are mainly fibrocalcific, that we most of the time need good lesion preparation. But here the results are quite good. So I think we can proceed without this cutting balloon inflation of the ostium of circ. What's the opinion from the panel?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because of the fibrocalcific nature of the ostial circ, sometimes you have to use a cutting balloon, but it's a reasonable result with the non-compliant 3O balloon you used.
Sorry, 30
Yeah.
15
So I think you can skip
NC.
the cutting balloon here.
I mean, the obviously the purpose is mainly the lesion preparation. It's not the necessarily use of some atherectomy device which helps. I mean, if you can prepare the lesion well with the whatever an NC or a an OPN or whatever balloon, then the restenosis is basically dependent on your proper deployment and usage of the drug-eluting stent rather than the atherectomy. Because
Yes.
if atherectomy was so good, then people would not have had restenosis in the pre-drug-eluting stent era. So we have to go by that logic and see if the lesion expands well with a simple strategy. Then you just go ahead and put in a stent and deploy it properly and dilate it properly. That's my own version of atherectomy. Obviously, if you have a lot of calcium all around and you don't think that you can get a good result with the simple balloon, then yes, of course, it's, cutting balloon or rota is always available for help in this case.
Yes, Professor Nadeem, I agree with you. We can. The main purpose is to have a good lesion preparation, and there is no fun or to use the atherectomy device just for the sake of fun. I agree with you. Unable to dilate the lesion, then we can proceed with this Wolverine. But in this case, as we have achieved a good balloon expansion, so I'm now going to put a stents. So I'm using this newer version of Provus Elite stent, and my main strategy in this case is just mini crush. So I will put both stents simultaneously from sarcostium and left main to LAD.
So what size stents are you going to be using?
In circumflex, I'm going to put a 3O 3O24. Mainly have some yes, the distortion of the wire due to the wire twist around each other, so I have to put another wire.
So what was the size of your left main on the IVUS?
IVUS on left main is a 4.5 vessel.
So, okay. And for LED, what are you going to use for the LED?
I will use a 3.5 stent in the LED and then flare the ostium or left main with 4.5 balloon.
Okay, and I believe the Promus Elite, most of them, I guess, with the package insert, the manufacturer recommendations up to 0.5, 0.6 millimeter expansion. But on bench testing, most of them you can expand up to 1 millimeter and above size. So I believe I've not used Promus Elite. Probably they have the same expansion criteria that you can go up to full 1 millimeter without problems.
Yes, many stents are available in the market can go up to 1 or sometimes 1.5 mm.
Yes, with the Onyx, actually, you can go up to that. Yeah, 4 can go up to 5.5. And even without 0, you can, but yeah. But generally,
so which stents are you using? What company?
I'm using this Promus Elite.
Okay, so you're using the Promus. For both?
Both, yes, for both vessels. So I'm going
you
to
have a wire wrap around
yes,
here.
Yes. Now I'm increase the speed. You increase the stent. You doing this body wire in the circumflex. As there's about 180 or more than 190-degree angle in the circ.
Yeah.
Give some dye. Okay. Give me this 3024 stent.
Did you measure the landing zone for your LED stent?
Yes, it's about 38, 40 mm. So my plan is to put a 38 stent in LED.
3.5.
Yes, with 3.5. No, we am able to cross it very easily. I have removed this jailed wire from the circ, and meanwhile simultaneously I will put a second stand 3.538 from left main to LED. Give me 3.538. This is the advantage of 7 French guide that we can easily perform this mini crush.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for DK crush, from 6 French, we can easily perform this DK crush. But in DK crush, we have to add 1 or 2 steps more. So I usually prefer mini crush to avoid 1 or 2 steps.
So my default bifurcation strategy has also been mini cone crush, I call it. I always pull the side branch balloon and dilate it aggressively before deploying the main branch stent and crushing that, using that to crush the side branch stent. I think if you get the kissing balloon inflation at the end and do the pot right, probably there's no direct comparison with DK crush. There's not be much difference, with that in that scenario. So whatever technique you're most comfortable with should do that. With the DK crush, the issue is when you crush the stent, you want to use, if you really want to crush it in the left main, you're going to be using a 4.5 millimeter balloon to crush that stent in the left circumflex. Because if you're not doing the right crush, you're not getting the same results that you want. And then you want a double kissing inflation as well. So there's a lot of balloons used and 2 steps extra used. And, but it is, as far as data is concerned, better technique than the other techniques which have been studied. But that the step that Chen, who described it, used up to the main vessel size balloon to crush the stent of the side branch. So in this case, if you're deploying it in left main of 4.5 millimeters, you won't be able to crush the circumflex stent unless you have a high balloon of that size in the initial inflation.
That's true.
We have already answered this question. We have received a question that what is technique for left main. We're using this mini crush for left main to LED, from left main circumflex and LED. So I'm going to crush the side branch stand with the balloon now, 3.5 NC.
Deploy it first.
So you're actually not, I thought you were going to do simultaneous stent with mini cone crush.
Yes, I'm doing crushing this.
Going with a different?
Yes, can show, give me that die, some die.
So then just switch to it. Okay.
Okay, take a view. What do you think? I think it's a good position for circumflex stent.
But I would make sure that the balloon of the LED that you
Yes.
parked is across that stent. Otherwise,
Yes,
yeah.
I have pulled it back. Okay, open the stent. – 12, 14, 16. Okay, down.
Yeah.
Okay, open again.
So I think this is a nice step to do the coning, to pull back
16.
the stent balloon a little bit and go high pressure. So what was the initial pressure you went on?
16.
16, okay.
Again,
So-
it's on 16.
and now you're going up to, again, 16. Okay, you could go up to 18, 20 here, I guess, just to stretch it. But initial inflation, I do 12, 14, then a pull back and do 18 once a pull back. But you're kind of doing a in between of a DK crush.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I have a problem to send the second stand due to twisting the wire. So for the sake of time, I
Okay.
decided to remove this stand and put a balloon there for crushing.
It's a good thing that your stent stent balloon nicely moved in. Sometimes if it's not a left main or big left main, which was not diseased, it was okay. But if you saw when you deployed the side branch stent, if the
Crush it.
balloon which you're using to crush moves and there's a lesion in the main branch as well, you can have a hard time getting that balloon down to crush the stent. Like right now, it's hitting the struts.
Yes, I have a disengaged guide get disengaged. No, I have a problem. No, it's okay. I usually prefer to keep the side branch wire just inside for the crushing, for the purpose of crushing. After that, I will remove this circumflex wire. 16, 18.
I know a lot of people do that while crushing, they leave the wire in. I take everything out, the stent balloon in the wire, and I don't feel it serves any purpose.
Mhm. Yeah, the conventional teaching is to remove the wire actually, but I am not sure what the.
It's just taking the risk of jailing it, and
Right.
It serves no purpose by lying in there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, I have crushed it with 22 at 22 ATM 3.5, 15 NC.
so it was a 3.5 balloon.
Yes.
So no matter whether you use a 3.5 also, you're not going to get a crash of that left circumflex stent because it's a 4.5 millimeter left main. So with the true crush, it's supposed to be the size of the main vessel. The balloon is supposed to be the size of the main vessel, diameter. But I think it's a nice way to approach this as well. That just bring the other balloon in and stent in and now crush.
But if you have a problem with parking the stent, then you might have to come back with a 4 balloon or a 4.5.
In fact, Chen is so anal about doing it right that he does an IVUS after crushing the side branch stent to make sure that it's all crushed at the ostium and there's no strut hanging in the main vessel. So that, doing it right is important with the DK crusher.
Yeah.
That's true.
3.38, 3.538.
You see, the Koreans are really so good with IVUS. They say that, and left main, I once attended a course there, and they would do they were very experienced with left main, but they would still do 100% IVUS at every step. And they say it only adds a minute or 2 minutes to their procedure.
And that's how you get,
I was at
perfection.
the end from both vessels.
Yeah, of course.
Now my plan is to put a 3.538 from left main to LED, then we'll do the pot, and then kiss, and then finally IVUS.
Okay.
So point is, I should have to cover the ostium of the left main or not.
So in your left main was normal. In this case, I think you could go either way. But, some basic science studies have shown that if you don't cover the ostium, there'll be less turbulence of flow and there'll be more laminar flow. But does it have any impact on outcomes? No. Some people use a cutoff of 8 millimeters. I don't know how they came up with that. If it's shorter than 8 millimeters, then you can cover the whole up to the ostium. If it's more than that, then you can park anywhere in between. So, but generally, I guess if it's a short left main, it's good to just cover all the way up to the ostium. But your left main was okay, so it wouldn't really matter much. It's just convenience of post dilatation that you can freely bring it out and flare it more easily if it's covering the ostium.
It's a quite big, long left main. So my plan is not to cover the ostium.
Which is totally reasonable, just have to be then careful with post dilatation.
Yeah, I think another important factor in our setup when you're deciding how much to cover left main is that do you have the size of that pot balloon when for example, if you don't have 8 millimeter length, 4.5 or 5, whatever you need, NC balloon, then you have to cover left main by 10 millimeters so that you can post dilate better. So it also depends upon the gadgetry you have, or
so you can do a Poorman's injection now to see if you're occluding flow and how much. You can see it's going to the circ, so it's you'll need a bigger balloon.
Yeah, that's Rossley's technique.
Hmm.
It's more relevant that if you have when you're post dilating, but when you're post, you should not have any dye going into the side branch.
Okay. Give some dye. Give me 4.5, 8 and NC 4.5. Okay, give me 4.5 NC balloon.
So I think it's for the fellows and over here, it's an important point that when you've deployed the stent in the left main, the guide motion should be watched very, very carefully, especially towards the end when you're finishing up, that this guide moving back and forth is touching the stent edge. So stent distortion can happen very easily.
Yes, I agree with you.
Especially if the stent is, relatively undersized to the size of the main vessel, then the chances of, getting more distortion at the inlet are much higher.
Sixteen, 18, 20. 20. Down.
How much pressure?
It's 20 ATM.
So at this point, if you have a software like Stent Boost or Stent Wiz, it's really helpful to
Yes,
be able to know
but
how
we
to
don't
park
have,
your.
stand boost in
uh-huh.
this machine.
So would you not want to look at it in Spider so that you know that you are not in the LAD proximal and not dilating that for a true pot?
Give me second one.
Pot, it's important, as Dr. Amber pointed out, that if it's good to just make sure that you try to the side bench ostium to get a true pot. And also with a 4.5 balloon, if you're doing it 20, you prefer not to be in the LED with that, with the risk of fan rupture.
Yes.
Although there's an aneurysm there, so there will be a bit of a mismatch, but we'll have a look at the pictures and see what happened to the
in
aneurysm.
model view, give me a polymer coated wire. Filter FC. Filter FC.
So to cross into the circumflex through the crushed stent, you want to use a Fielder FC, which is a
Yes.
coated wire.
My preferred choice is to use a polymer coated wire. So I'm going to use a Filter FC in this case.
Looking good already. Nice work.
Yeah.
So comments about where would you wire it, the side branch?
Theoretically,
Wherever.
it could be from the distal studs, but practically from wherever it goes.
I would have a difference of opinion on this. So if you were doing a provisional approach, I always would wire the distal. That's what the recommendation is. But with the left main two-stent approach, it's better to do it more central and proximally. Because if you go distally, then all the models have shown with the stenting that, you miss the carina. The side branch stent gets pushed when you're post-dilating. You're wiring, pushing more metal towards away from the carina. So it's better to wire if you're doing a two-stent, to try to wire it more centrally and proximally rather than distally, as you would do for a provisional approach when you're wiring the side branch.
I think you can see we already cross it most likely from the proximal studs.
Sometimes it is like from wherever you can cross it,
Yes.
as long as it gets in.
Yes.
Well, as long as it's not outside and then inside.
Yeah, that's true.
So the point you made, Noman, you mentioned that, and I said
This
earlier,
is 2.5 balloon, which they want to open the studs. And then my plan is 3.5, 3.5 in both vessels.
okay.
Okay, open. Okay. 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20, 22. Down. Again.
This is a 3.5?
It's 2.5. I want to flare the,
Oh.
open the studs, then I will go for 3.5.
Oh.
Down. Give me two 3.5 balloons. give some dye for disturb wire position.
So you had a trio stent in the circ, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Introduce.
And using 3.5 for both right now.
Yes, I'm doing the 3.5 for both. Then we'll do the pot at the end.
I didn't notice this was a circ size just looking under, because I would just stick with 3.0 with the circ otherwise, and 3.5. That would also give you around a 4.5 based on the Moore's law for the left main. You might be going a little bit over with 3.5s in the left main. I mean, it will work okay both ways, but probably if it.
I'm really concerned about this ectasia just after the ostium. That's why I'm planning
You
to
want
do
to go.
this
So you
treatment.
might do just the 3.5 separately in the circ distally, and then do a kissing with the 3.0 in the circ, and and 3.5 in the LED.
My strategy is to open the 3.5 in circ ostium at the higher pressures like 2022, and then for kissing I will use a nominal 8 or 10.
Okay, and that's a very good point. That do the sequentials at higher pressures and then kissing at the lower pressures. Yeah.
Give me one more 3.5. Give me 3.5. Okay, get diverse AD after that. Okay, this I'm in with both 3.5 balloons. Okay, open. Open. Circumflex. 12. 12. Down. 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 Okay, again. 3.5. Yes. 14, 16, 20.
Nice. The waist just went away. It's good.
Okay, down. Okay, open LED at this point. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, down. Okay, LED. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Down. No, I did the sequential balloon dilatation at 22 ATM, both vessels. Now I will open it up to 8 or 10 ATM. Okay, open both simultaneously. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Down.
So this is an important point where the balloons are being
guides.
pulled out, not
Yes,
to
the
have any
guides.
distortion.
So I'm going to disengage the guide.
And I guess you're going to do a pot at the end, so that should
Yes.
solve that.
I just have disengaged the guide and complete it out. give a view.
Excellent result.
I think nicely expanded stents.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice result. Excellent.
very nice. Excellent result. Very nice. We'll have a look at Ivis. Ivis can tell us many different
Yes.
things.
I guess you'll do a pot before.
No,
Yeah.
I will do the IVUS first, then go for the pot.
Okay.
Do the pot first. Why not?
Well done.
Okay, keep bring the IVUS. I'm going to do IVUS from left LED to left main.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor Imran, I really like to see the stent outlet. There was some haziness at.
That is a static segment. I will show you on the IVUS.
Yeah, that's important too. While we were busy on focusing on left main and bifurcation, I think we're not. I hope we're not missing out stent outlet in LED.
Yes. Okay, we're quite outside the stand stud. Okay, show the IVUS on the main screen. Please show the IVUS on the main screen. Please, okay. We start this pullback from distal vessel.
Quite a diseased vessel.
Here is end extension. Yes, malapposition as well.
This is the ectatic segment where you.
Yes. I didn't do the post dilatation at this point. Now I will go with the higher balloon post dilatation, mid to distal part of the stent. I just post dilated the proximal segment and then the left main. The ostial, and there that you can see the left main both stents, and in left main it's quite well opposed.
Imran, do you use chroma flow to in IVUS to check for malapposition that you can see some flow behind the stent with it?
No, I didn't check it. I will show again the IVUS from mid to distal.
Okay.
Please. Okay, more. Show the under expanded segment. Yes, slowly. Here you can see the quite
very
huge
well
malapposition. So, but in the left main, the stent is well opposed.
Which section is this? Is this
near? This is from that ectatic segment or more distally? Yes. Because at one point you'll have to call it. So much you can expand because you don't want to. It was a 3.0 stent which you have so far done at 3.5. Huh?
No, it's 3.5 stent. I'm going to
3.5 stent which you have post dilated with up to
at 3.5. Now I'm going to post it with 3.75 balloon.
This is at the aneurysmal segment, right?
Yes. Show further the left main. Show the left main on IVUS. Show the IVUS again at the bifurcation. IVUS at the bifurcation. Move. Yes. Stop. Yeah. Here you can see. Can you show the IVUS on the main screen? Show the IVUS on the main screen. Kindly show IVUS run on main screen. Kindly show the IVUS run on the main screen. Okay. Here you can see the studs of the circumflex and the well cover the ostium. Frame by frame, give.
We can't see the IVUS image on the main screen. We have it on the computer, but not on the main screen here.
Go backward, backward. More. Yes, from here you can see the just.
Can you have them please put it up on the main screen as well? It's IT guys, whoever is the main screen.
Can you focus? Give more focus for others. Put it on the main screen. Do the ACT. What about the ACT? Triple. Give more heparin, 5,000. Our preferred anticoagulation strategy is heparin. We use it 100 unit per kg body weight. So.
And what ACT do you maintain?
ACT usually prefer to go with more than 300. At this point, the ACT is 222. We are giving more heparin. Give 5,000 heparin. Can you see the IVUS on the main screen now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, at this point, you can well appreciate there's only just a micro crush, just 1 or 2 studs of the circumflex stent in the LED stent, and we have this micro crush. And move forward here, and you can well pose, go backward again. No. Okay, move forward. Running में इसको शो करें. Here, you can see coverage of the ostium of the circ is very good. So I have no need to worry about the ostium of the circ. Okay, inflate. 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20. Down. Again. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20. Down. I'm doing the post dilatation of mid and distal LED with 3.75 NC.
So Imran, are you able to calculate the minimal stent area, MSA? There is a very nice diagram which they present that which is related to outcome, that at the point of confluence, it should be 7, 6 at the LAD ostium and 5 at the circumflex ostium and 8 proximal to proximal left main.
Okay, I will calculate.
I think it was definitely about much more than 7 based on the diameters, but yeah, that's an important.
Like. Yeah, that's the minimal. Yeah.
Give me 4.5 blown for the final part, and I will do the IVUS run at the end again.
I think it'll be hard to get the stent completely opposed to that ectatic area, even with this dilatation. But you can, and after this, whatever it looks like, that's the way.
Angiographically, it's very good.
Yeah.
You can see. So after this, I have did this 3.75 and see at 18:20 ATM. So I will go with this 4.5 for pot, and finally I will do the IVUS run again at the end.
Yeah.
I think this mid LAD is not quite significant. I'm not going to do a FFR of this now. What do you think about it?
I don't think that FFR is going to be significant. I mean, IVUS probably showed some disease there, but
it's the universal saying, if you want to stand in and do the IVUS, if you want to leave it, then go for the FFR.
I think you should no longer use IVUS to stent in the, branches except left main, you can defer it, or even in the side in LED circuit, you can defer it with more than 4 millimeter square. But anything less than that, you can't stent based on that. You should now just use physiology, if you want to do that.
Give some time.
But enough work for one day. I would probably leave the mid LED alone. It doesn't look significant, moderate. The area of the stent edge looks a little bit hazy, so it would be good to IVUS that just to make sure.
Safe flow, safe.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Noman, but as I have a presentation coming up on FFR, then essentially all these indeterminate lesions, they can go either way. You don't know angiographically.
Okay, I can do FFR at the end.
Up to you if you're tired. Yes.
No,
No.
not tired. Okay, get IVUS ready. Oh, this fire. Take this fire out.
So what was the length of the port balloon?
It's a 10, 4.5, 10. The shortest balloon available to me. Give one view. IVUS.
Promus used to be notorious for the accordion effect. A lot of Promus would behave in that fashion. So this is a Promus elite. It has done well.
Cranial view. Focus the IVUS. Show IVUS on the main screen. This IVUS from the distal part of the stent. There is mild atheroma here. The stent looks good. It's well opposed at this point and well expanded.
Missing part of the image, if you can adjust the screen.
Adjust the screen.
I believe. Yeah, that's.
Okay, stop. Now the hull parts are very well opposed and expanded. Show the IVUS again. Now you can see it properly, Professor Noman?
Yes.
Looks much better. And what about the port, the area which you did the port?
I will use a 4.5 10 NC balloon. I will show the left main on the IVUS again.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have an IVUS, then a crude test is when you are inflating the port balloon to give a little bit of dye. If the dye goes through from the side of the balloon, it means that you are using an undersized port balloon. So that's a crude test if you don't want to use IVUS.
Here you can see the left main is well opposed and 2 or 3 frames.
Very nice result all throughout. Yeah.
So I'm going to do the FFR of this LED, as Professor Amber rightly mentioned that next presentation for FFR, so we should have.
Yeah, I think it's going to be academic mainly because I doubt that the FFR is going to be significant.
Give
I
one
guess,
more.
yeah, 3 out of 3 have voted that probably it's not going to be significant. Huh?
We will wait for science to tell us.
Mhm.
And we'll also wait for, let's see how quickly
Meanwhile,
Iran
Professor Zubair was pointing out, wasn't this session supposed? We are beyond the time limit as well. So that
Okay. But I think it's a very mild disease admit. So FFR
Yeah.
going to be negative in this case.
Yes, we think so too.
So we can stop the case here. I will show the final angiographic view, then we
Or you can do it off screen if you want and let us know the results.
Oskin and share it with us. That'll be nice. Yeah, there'll be images later on.
epicaudal. So for the final, give the spider view. Yes, spider.
Diagonal origin couldn't see over here. That remained okay.
No, there is a diagonal have pinch. There is a tight stenosis.
But he's not having any pain. It looks like it has
No.
good flow. Yeah.
And I'm going to do the final image. You can also see there's some sluggish flow in the OM as well, but the OM is patent, the flow is there. So it's going to be pop up with the antiplatelets afterward. So in this case, my preferred antiplatelet approach is Tachygrel plus aspirin.
Hmm. Yeah.
Professor Naman, what do you think?
I'm sorry.
What do you think about the antiplatelet strategy in this case?
So for left mains, I would prefer to go with a more potent ADP receptor agonist like Tricaglor and aspirin. So that would be my preferred choice. But we all are seeing the issue of, that in about good 15 to 20% of the people, they come back with shortness of breath and you have to switch the drug. But but I would at least start him with Tricaglor. And I wish, I don't know why the Prasugrel went away, that would have been another choice. But if go with Plavix, in US, we only go with a single dosing, but over here, we're using twice a day Plavix dose. So would stick with that for up to at least first few weeks. He has area in the circumflex where it's also not well opposed. There's ectasia there. So he's a little bit, antiplatelet therapy long-term and more potent would be the way to go in this case with a stent in the left main and ectatic area in the circumflex there where the stent is not fully opposed.
Yes, fully agreed with you. I'm going to plan a Tachygrel plus aspirin in this patient and most likely for lifelong antiplatelet therapy. The area in the circumflex is ectatic segment with some aneurysmal dilatation. If I go after that, then the chance of stent distortion.
No, I don't think you should go after that. That's the best you can get over there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nice result, nicely done. Yeah.
Very well done, and an excellent result, Imran.
Thank you, Professor Nadeem.
Very,
really matters for me.
Yeah, very, very, very well done and very nice interaction. And it was a great this thing that Imran actually started off doing an atherectomy and then switched over and went quickly to the to the next steps. So that was good as well. It would have been nice to have seen an atherectomy, but clearly it wasn't needed.